Maryland football lands a big commit from Jaden Kitchens.
You are Locked On Terps, your daily podcast on the Maryland Terps, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What's up, everyone? I'm Tre Moore, host of Locked On Terps, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. So thank you guys for making us part of your day. And today's episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. Maryland football lands a big commit in their 2026 class. So a couple of days ago, I don't know if you guys saw it. I think most of you guys did. Maryland landed a big commit from three-star wide receiver Jaden Kitchens. I think this kid's going to be really good. I love his upside as a player, and I really do believe this is a big commit for the Terps. I've talked about the 2026 class and how I've been, I don't want to say disappointed in it, but I have kind of been like, this isn't quite what the 2025 class was, and I've been waiting for us to get some people, to get some players that you feel good about, some guys that you're like, yeah, these are some dudes. Like in our 2025 class, there were so many different guys that you felt good about that were pretty solid players overall. Whereas in our 2026 class, I thought we started off pretty slow. I thought we were still kind of getting the groove on everything. I thought we were still figuring things out. I thought we were still picking like where we wanted to get our high-end guys, like all those different things I thought were happening with our 2026 class. But we're starting to see it come together. We're starting to see Maryland get some guys, some high-level players that I think are going to be really good for the Terps. And the latest commit is this kid, Jaden Kitchens, goes to the St. James in Virginia, Springfield, Virginia, a receiver who I think is going to actually end up being a really nice player for Maryland down the line. One thing that you can't teach in any sport or just in general in life is height. Jaden Kitchen has some height. I love receivers with size. Jaden Kitchen's 6'2.5", so we'll round it up to 6'3" for him, and he still has a chance to grow into his body a little bit. So he's about 6'2", 6'3", which I think is really good size for a receiver. Because sometimes when you get too tall, you're not really able to like bend and get out of breaks, and you're not really able to run routes as well, and you're not able to get open as well. You might catch a lot of 50-50 balls, and then sometimes if you're short, yeah, you're jittery, but you can't make a lot of the contested catches, where this kid has that perfect height at like 6'2", where you can still be jittery, but you can also catch a lot of passes, kind of like that Ty Felton kind of build out of a guy. But I think this kid is going to be a really good player. And after watching his film, his run after catch, man, this guy gets it and he gets going. Doesn't wait for anybody. He gets going. He gets to the next level of the defense. And he makes guys miss. And obviously it's not going to look the same in college. Like in high school, it's always overemphasized. When you watch a film, you see a receiver making plays, making guys miss. But I do think it's going to translate somewhat to the college level. And a big reason why I think he's a big commit is because he just gets loose in the open field. Really tough to bring down at 6'2", 6'3", like I was saying, which I think is really cool for the Terps, and I definitely think is a weapon. He also is pretty fast. Like when you watch him play against a lot of these teams, it's tough to tell how good the competition is. He's just outrunning guys. You see guys try and get angles on him, and he's just outrunning guys to places, which I think is really cool to see for Jaden Kitchens. But I love his run after catch. I think that's the number one thing that Jaden Kitchens does really well. And so there is a scouting report on him, which I do want to read and tell you why. This kid, Gabe Brooks, who works at 247. I like reading these because I feel like they give us a better idea of the player overall. He says he's a tall pass catcher with physical tools of a traditional outside receiver, but extensive snaps from the slot. as a wide weapon in a spread scheme. So I like the idea of that. So basically, Gabe Brooks is saying that he has a traditional side to play outside, but in high school a lot he played in the slot, which I think makes sense because when you think about high school football, sometimes it's just easier to get the ball. You put your best receiver in the slot, and it's easier to get them the ball that way. You see in the NFL in today's NFL as well. Sometimes you're going to put your best receiver in the slot instead of outside because he just creates better matchups. Like it's a lot of different things and a lot of advantages. But I also think this kid could develop into being an outside receiver with his size and his frame that he has. And he says shows comfort working multiple levels as well as over the middle of the field, which you love to see. You want guys that aren't just going to be short route runners or just ran streaks the entire time in high school and just got open, but has a different variety of routes that can come in and translate at the college level. And then Gabe Brooks also said he's capable of stretching the field vertically as a seam buster or down the boundaries. So he is also able to be a deep threat, which at 6'2.5" with some speed, the ability to make guys miss is kind of what you expect from him. He says displays effective run after catch strength that allows for extra yardage via contact. So that's kind of what I was saying. I think that might be, when you just turn on the film, that might be the best part of his game, is just the pure run after catch. They ran a lot of screens for him last year in high school. They did a lot of different things like that for him in high school, and you can see is the ability to be able to run after catch. And then it also says strong athletic profile includes basketball and track. And then so some of the things he needs to work on, which everyone has stuff they need to work on at this level, can more consistently squeeze juice from the top end gear of long speed, that's like every receiver in the world wants to be better at breaking in and out of routes. Totally makes sense. You're not going to get a polished route runner. You're just not out of high school, unless maybe it's like a Jeremiah Smith or something. He says somewhat of a one-speed player who can employ some gear shift nuance. Something you can teach. All stuff you can teach. Said bona fide power 4 caliber receiver who can provide valuable alignment variety and projects as a potential multi-year starter with physical traits and athletic markers that suggest significant development potential. So that's a big reason why I say this kid's a big commit, because not only is he doing a lot of really good things now with the at high school, but he's got a lot of room to grow, and he can be more polished as a route runner. He can get in and out of routes better. He can still work on some of his change of pace and change of speed, which is really important for receiver position. He can still do some of those things to get better, which I think is really big for a kid like that. And that's why I think this is such a big commit for this 2026 class, because we know we're not just going to get 5-star on 5-star. You got to find the guys down the line that are going to be really high-end, really solid players. And one thing we know about Maryland football is that we can develop receivers. That's one thing that we can do. We can develop receivers. We can get receivers better. We can put them in better spots. We have that sauce. We have that recipe to be able to make receivers better, to improve receivers, to get them better overall. Like, we are able to do that. We know how to do that. So that is something that I think is going to be big for the Terps, is receivers, is getting receivers and developing receivers, and developing people overall. Like, we're not going to come in with a ton of 4 or 5-star talent as some of these other schools. If you want to compete, Jaden Kitchens is a perfect example. Has the size, has the traits, might not be so polished, but you can develop him into something really good down the line. And I love his versatility. I love that he can play the slot. He played the outside. Like, I like that he has size. I think he kind of has everything you want. I'm not saying he's the best receiver in the class, but there's no reason this guy can't be a multi-year starter, like it said in the scouting report. And he had a lot of big-time offers, to be honest. Like, his offers make sense. Like, he had Cincinnati. He had Virginia Tech, a school that I know he was considering heavily. He had Boston College, Charlotte. He had Duke, East Carolina. He had Indiana. He had Marshall, Minnesota, another Big Ten offer. Oregon, that's a pretty big-time offer if Oregon's offering you. Pitt, Syracuse, West Virginia, Wisconsin, a pretty big offer. So he had some definitely offers. Like, people definitely wanted this kid, and he adds to the 2026 class. Doesn't have any receivers yet outside of him. Let me double check. Yeah, no receivers outside of him. A lot of tight ends, a lot of corners, some edge potential, but no receivers in that class. Obviously, that class is still headlined by Zion Ely, and I would love to add some more four-star talent to the class. We haven't done so yet. We haven't quite been able to do it. Add a lot of four-star talent in the middle of our class, which we were able to do in the 2026 class. But that is something that I want to see us do, is to add some more four-star talent. We'll see how that ends up going. I do think that that's something that matters. I do think that that's something that's important for the Terps to be able to do, is to add some four-star type of talent. But I really like this kid. I think he's a big commit. I love his size. I love some of his traits that he has. I do think he's going to end up being a pretty good player. Ranked as a 3-star talent, ranked as the 23rd ranked player in Virginia, 129th ranked receiver. So 247's higher than him, than a lot of other people are, which I think is a good thing because of how 247, kind of how detailed they are. But you don't always get a type of thing where they have a scouting report. Oh, but quickly, his stats. As a junior, caught 40 passes for 747 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 18.7 yards per reception per max preps for Riverdale Baptist. So that's a pretty big time number. He's also running track. He's also fast. He's fast. Indoor season with a top times of a 6.82 in the 55-meter dash. I don't really know how fast that is. Some of you track people have to let me know, but I'm guessing that's pretty fast based on how he looks on film. So I do think this kid is a pretty big time commit for the Terps. We're going to continue Maryland football. We're going to talk about Maryland's receiving core, how it can still be as good as it's been over the last couple of years. We'll talk about that next, and why I'm actually really high on this receiving core and why I think it can be a really solid group. We'll talk about that next. Ever wish managing your money felt easier? With Monarch Money, it can. Whether you're growing your savings or planning a big purchase, Monarch puts you in the driver's seat. It's like having a personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app, it's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So in addition to managing your money, you're also building wealth. There's so many different perks to using Monarch Money. You can track your spending with Monarch. You can look at stuff like takeout or subscriptions. I know me, I like to order a lot of food and subscribe to a lot of different things, whether it's like a Netflix or a Peacock. There's a lot of different things that you can look at. If you share your finances with a wife or a husband or whatever the case is, or your parent or something like that, you can do that with Monarch. It helps you stay on the same page. It's, if you want to get serious about your finances, you go over to Monarch. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your first year. So, Maryland receiving core, I actually think is going to end up being really good this year for the Terps. So, I've kind of taken some time to process the Maryland receiving room after losing 2 really good players, 2 really outstanding players, 2 guys that are going to play on Sundays next year. Ty Felton, definitely, he gets to play with Justin Jefferson, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, Jordan Addison, if you guys don't know Jordan Addison, I don't know how big of NFL fans you guys are. Jordan Addison was the other receiver, like second receiver to Justin Jefferson, but I think he just got a suspension, I'm pretty sure. So that should actually open up space for Ty Felton to maybe be like as high as wide receiver 2. I don't know the Vikings roster like in and out, but I think Ty Felton as a 3rd round pick, they're going to be expecting him to do some big things as a 3rd round pick. He could be receiver 2, receiver 3, get a ton of time. Yeah, he's going to slide in right there and be a huge part of that offense. But that's besides the point. Caden Prather hopefully makes the Bills roster. I think he could catch him 50-50 balls for Josh Allen next year. But we lost two really good receivers, two guys to the NFL. And I think a lot of people are like, how is this receiving room actually going to end up being for the Terps? It's been a strength for Maryland. Can it be a strength again? I actually think this receiving room's going to be really good for Maryland football. I think we have all the players we need. I think we have all the tools in the toolkit that we need for this Terps receiving room to actually be really solid. One thing that I love about this Maryland receiver room is there's so many different body types, so many different player types, so many different skill sets. I feel like it works together. Like Jaleel Farouk, is the veteran of that room. He's played really high level football at Oklahoma. 6'2", does a lot of different things well. Caleb Webb, fast, but also tall, provides us with a deep threat. Octavian Smith, smaller side, jittery, is going to get open a ton in the slot. Some big performances last year. But Kai White showed us in the spring game at 6'4", the redshirt freshman, 6'3", that he can be a dude. Shalik Knott's another big body guy to go along with Ryan Manning, a shorter guy, but gets open, has burst speed, can do a lot of different things in that way. And you have a guy like Justin Devon, a freshman that I think is going to be pretty good player. Zymir Smith, you just choose what you want to do with Zymir Smith, and he's going to be able to do it as one of the best athletes, top 10 rated in EA college football game. I think there's a lot of different body types in a lot of different player personnel that you're really excited about for the Terps. So I think making good receiving room is about combining different types of players that can do different types of things. Like I think in the NFL level, you think of, or if you want to keep it in college, Ohio State last year. Jeremiah Smith, obviously a freak of nature, 6'3", can do just about everything. And then you have Emeka Mbuka in the slot. A lot of the time, runs routes with the best of them, polished, in and out of cuts, just a clean veteran in that room. And then you have Carnell Tate, also young, but is really kind of that in-between body type at 6'2", gets open. Like they had a different types of receiver. Brandon Innes, just an athlete, does a lot of different things well. Like they had a lot of different players, which I think makes them one of the better receiving rooms. And I think this Maryland receiving room can be like that. It's not going to be Ohio State, obviously, but I'm really high on two guys in this room. Jaleel Farouk and Octavian Smith are going to lead this Maryland receiving room. Super high on Octavian Smith, really high on Octavian Smith. Octavian Smith last year, he got overshadowed by Ty Felton and Caden Prather, but we know that Octavian Smith is a really good player. He's a really good player, has all the traits, has all those different things that you need to be able to succeed. He might be the fastest kid on the roster with his size and burst, really high on him. There's no reason he can't take the jump and put up one of the best season he's had and have around, I think, 600, 700 yards. You move down the line, Jaleel Farouk, arguably the best offensive weapon on your team. If he comes back from the injury, right, he's one of the best receivers in the Big Ten. He was already playing as one of the best receivers in the Big 12 when Oklahoma was in the Big 12. He was doing a lot of big-time things, like had some big-time season as a receiving threat. He's already proven that he can be really good in college football, and he can be one of the better guys in the Big Ten. That's a really good duo off the rip right there that you feel really good about being a good group of players. And then you have Caleb Webb, was a 4-star out of high school. We know that he has a lot of potential and bursts. He has a chance to step up and be a guy in that receiving room. We know Ryan Manning can get open, is really solid there. We know Shalik Knott's 4-star out of high school as well, has all the traits to be a good player. Mekhi White, man, I think he's the guy that makes this receiving room kind of be really exciting. He looked really good in the spring game. Like, not just like, oh, like, yeah, that guy made a couple lucky plays, like looked on a different level. Sometimes catching the ball from Christian Martin. There's no reason why we can't see him take a huge step up. Like, there's just different players in this room that I think are going to end up being really good players. And we also have to trust Mike Locksley. One thing that he's done exceptionally well is the secondary and the receivers. And there's no reason to think that that's going to drop off. I know people are going to be like, like the personnel, like, no, we don't have a Ty Felton. Like, just wait. Octavian Smith is going to be really good. Jaleel Farouk going to be really good. I think the room's going to end up being really high end, really high quality, and end up working out for the Terps. Let's talk about Derik Queen in his summer league and also Jameer Young going crazy in a summer league. We'll talk about that quickly next. So I don't know if you guys were able to see, but we'll start with Derik Queen. Derik Queen is having a really good summer league. I think there's a couple things that he's done pretty poorly. One that he did bad at Maryland, but not really anybody talks about. But Derik Queen's had a really good summer league. I think he's kind of, I don't know if I want to say he's exceeded my expectations again, but he has played at a really high level in the summer league so far. He's just been a double machine for one, which we know he's going to do, but he's proving it at that level that he's able to do it. He had that 17-point performance. He had a couple other performances where he had a double-double. He just looks comfortable out there, more comfortable than he's probably supposed to look out there. And he just has so many different skill sets in the bag, so many different types of skill sets that you just can't teach from Derik Queen that a lot of people just aren't able to do. And so it's really cool seeing him play at a high level and be one of the better guys you'll see for come out of Maryland basketball. And I think he's going to work. I don't know if he's going to start next year for the Pelicans. I can see him coming off the bench. They have a lot of players. Zion kind of plays a similar position as him, even though him and Zion are literally opposite players, which I think is kind of funny to think about. Zion is your high flying, whatever, jumps out the gym, freak athlete, scores that way. While Derik Queen ain't a freak athlete, but it's going to be one of the most skilled big men you're going to see, understands, plays with really high IQ, doesn't jump that high, but just knows how to get his shot, knows how to handle the ball and different things like that. So I do think Derik Queen is really playing well at that case. And then I want to switch gears. Jameer Young. Wow. Jameer Young's on another level right now. Jameer Young is doing things I didn't know Jameer Young could do. Would he have 40 in the summer league? He's going to make the Bulls roster. And we knew at Maryland that he was good and that he could carry a team. But he was one of those college players that you're like, yeah, he doesn't project out to the NBA. He's not that big. He's not like an elite level athlete. He doesn't jump out of the gym. Like, he's not like an insane, you don't think of him as like a crazy 3-point shooter. He could shoot the ball for sure, but you didn't think of him as like elite. But he's doing it, and he got time with the Bulls last year. I think he's going to make that team. He might slide into the rotation. And a guy like that, you just want to make it into the NBA. And you just want to be able to play. He's not probably going to be a star ever in the NBA. He just wants to make a living out of the NBA and make a ton of money. Forget making a living. You'll make a ton of money just being a backup or rotational type of point guard that can come in, give the starting point guard some rest, whatever the case is. I don't know what's going on with the Bulls roster exactly, but he is playing really high, like 40 points in summer league. Like, those aren't bums out there. I know a lot of you guys probably say that, but they're not. There's some really high-end basketball players. It's pretty big time for Jameer Young. So it's good to see the Maryland guys hooping, playing a high level is really cool to be able to see because that doesn't happen every day. So it's good to see those guys playing at a high level. That's all we have for today. Thank you guys for listening to Locked on Terps. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. We're here every day talking Maryland football and basketball. So thank you guys for listening to Locked on Terps.